Hello and welcome to Mtoto News Insights, this week brought to you by Omar Hamid. Before we start, let's first of all have a look at the headlines.
A survivor of human trafficking. I was trafficked in 2019 to India through a WhatsApp group.
Kenya holds a celebration for the World Day of Missing Persons.
Usalama iko, lakini tunataka tuongezewe usalama Kibera juu Kibera watoto wanatoka nje na watoto ni wengi.
Of course they have to aspire to be great leaders in our society. But again on the receiving end,
parents concerned about their children's safety during elections.
Celebrating the policies that we are making, we also need to engage the children. I think we need to make it something that we do every single day of their, in fact every single year. Every time we come up with policies, we need to make them child friendly. By child
Mtoto News holds a post-dark event to discuss the promises made in the main event. On to our first news story. Kenya celebrated World Day Against Trafficking in Persons at an event held in Kiamichael, Mathare Sub-County on Saturday, July 30th, 2022. This year's theme focuses on using technology as a tool that enables and impedes human trafficking. Brian King has more.
Every year we get to celebrate the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. This year in Kenya, we got to celebrate this event by attending an event in Kibra, Mathare Sub-County, where human trafficking survivors and social workers got together to tell their stories, raise awareness, and try to come up with solutions on how to protect the Kenyan child from human trafficking.
Kwa madawa za kulevya na ulevi, lakini nikakuja nikapatana na shirika inaitwa Kenya na wakanishikilia, wakanipea counseling na sasa niko sawa.
I'm a survivor of human trafficking. I was trafficked in 2019 to India through a WhatsApp group. Someone wrote on a WhatsApp group that she was looking for young, beautiful girls who could work in India and, being ambitious and also being, you want a better future for yourself and also having responsibilities to take care of, I had to inbox the lady, and during that time I was only a dancer, so I had bigger dreams. I wanted to come back to Kenya and go back to school, niingie kwa education, nisome journalism or even law, what I wanted to do. Na juniorly drop out of school at 16 years. So during the whole period, I was just a hustler and I still wanted to go back to school someday. So I knew this is the opportunity maybe I was looking for. Maybe if I go to India, this is what, this is the breakthrough for me. So that's what I thought. That's why I inboxed the lady and traveled to India. First of all, I did not have the knowledge of even human trafficking. I did not even know how people fly abroad, if they are the right way. I don't know, kupitia nyuma ya mlango. I did not know all that. Because me, I'm just like that young woman out here. People go to Maju, you just think everything is legit, So that time, after the text and me inboxing the lady and us having a conversation about working abroad and her telling me about how much I was going to get paid, which was really, really convincing, and it looks really, really real. Like she said, within 2 weeks you have 100,000, and considering that it's working abroad, you'll believe because fly. Everybody thinks that uko Maju kuna pesa. Yes, so that's how I traveled. And then when I got there, I realized that the only job that I could do there is prostitution, and it's not something I had planned, So I had to look for ways to come back home, and that's how I contacted a friend from BBC and told her about what I was going through there. and she helped me. She and BBC helped me to come back home.
Some of the challenges zile tuna face while documenting these issues is kwamba tunapata hata threat from the families that we are trying to save watoto kutoka kwao, because we find out that mtoto ametolewa nyumbani, ameletwa hapa Nairobi kwamba anaenda kupelekwa shule mzuri. The moment anafika Nairobi anageuzwa kufanyishwa kazi zile zenye za nyumba na bla bla. So when we get this awareness, tukienda kumrescue, unapata kwamba the family that ana host huyu mtoto anaweka grudge na sisi kama community ama human right defenders kwamba sisi tumekuja kumnyang'anya ule mtoto wako kwa nyumba yake anafanya kazi. Sometimes ina end up to this grudge ama hizi threats, anakutumia hata watu wakupige just because unajaribu kufunika ile kitu alikuwa anafanya. So imekuwa ni challenge sana, na pia kuna some of the victims hawajitokezi. Mtu amekubali utembe naye kuhusu kesi yake, mtoto wake ametumiwa, umempata na umeanza kutembea naye kuhusu mtoto wake venye alipelekwa, but all of a sudden anawachilia tu mambo. So akiwachilia mambo, na saa zingine umespend a lot of your time, umespend a lot of resources in terms of even documenting, hata kwenda naye kotini na kutafuta some of the other documents, na then all of a sudden anakuja na give up. So inakuwa ni changamoto kwetu kama human rights defenders, na inakuwa ni very sana kwa kudocument hizi cases.
It's important to me, first of all, as a survivor, because I'm also creating, and also as an advocate, because I received an award of being the best advocate survivor from Free the Slaves. And I use it to create awareness, and even the film that we did with BBC, the purpose is to educate the people, to let them know that these things happen, and it's not just all the time that unaambiwa go and work maju, that unakimbilia tu kufanya. You must be careful, you need to investigate, you need to know if what you're going to do, first of all, is it legit, or watu pia wao wamejificha tu, when you get there, alafu tena your visa expires, and it's trouble for the people out there. So, and it's like in all countries, so people just need to be investigative. You make sure you are 100% sure you know what you're going to do, and you also communicate well with the people you're going to be living with there, and you make sure that maybe they also communicate with your family, just to have at least your bond. It's not only you who is involved in that, you have also involved some other people around you. When you wanajua, in case of anything, we know where she went, we know whom she was with, and this was the contract she had signed.
Every year we continue to report more and progressive measures of preventing trafficking of children and even humans. We hope for better results and more predictive results next year. Reporting from Mtoto News Insights, I am Brian King.
Thank you so much, Brian, for that report. As we are nearing the day of the general elections on the 9th of August, many Kenyans are concerned about the safety of their children during this election period. Our journalists got a chance to interview parents around the streets of Nairobi to get their views on the same. Take a look.
As we all know, the 9th of August is our national general election. Today, we go to the field to get the views of some parents and on the safety of their children.
Kulingana na vile serikali na vyombo vya habari vimeturipotia, wanatuambia ya kwamba kuna usalama ya kutosha. Kwa hivyo tunaamini ya kwamba kuna usalama wa kutosha. Kulingana na labda vile ilikuwa 2017 na 2019, huenda ikawa walisoma kulingana na wakati huo, na sasa tunahisi ni kana kwamba usalama wa kutosha uko.
Usalama iko, lakini tunataka tuongezewe usalama Kibera, juu Kibera watoto wanatoka nje na watoto ni wengi. Hiyo ndio maombi yangu, Kibera tuongezewe askari wakuwe wengi.
Katika msimu huu nahisi kuna usalama wa kutosha kabisa, kwa sababu serikali naona imejipanga kabisa, kwa sababu kulingana na vile waliona mambo imetendeka 2007, waliona kwamba watu wengi waliumia sana, watoto wengi walipoteza mioyo yao, wazazi wakapoteza mioyo yao. Naona wakati huu wamejipanga ya kutosha.
Mikakati ipi umeweka wewe na watoto wako kuhakikisha kuwa mko na usalama?
Watoto wangu wamefunga shule, wako kwa nyumba, nitakuwa na waangalia wasiende kuinterrupt na watu wa siasa. So nimewaweka kwa nyumba.
Mikakati yenye nimeweka ni tumetoa watoto shule za mbali tukawaleta karibu na nyumbani, kwa sababu hii election ikiendelea tuwe pamoja, and in case kuwe na mambo mengine ambayo hatutarajii, ikuwe watoto wetu wako katika mazingira ambaye tunafahamiana.
Tumejaribu kuweka usalama, lakini watoto ni wale wale tu, wanataka kwenda kukimbia nje, waangalie fenye huko nje kuko, lakini tunajaribu tu kuwafungia tu kwa manyumba, lakini mtoto hawezi fungikika kwa nyumba.
Ujumbe wenye ningepatia watoto wanayetazama, ningependa wasiige intoxication zenye zinaletwa na politicians, because siasa ni watu ambayo wanatafuta kazi kutoka kwetu kama wananchi, na wale watu wengine uchafuana, kuambiana maneno yasiyofaa kwa sababu yeye anataka apate, mwingine asipate. Kwa hivyo chenye ningewaambia, of course they have to aspire to be great leaders in our society, but again on the receiving end, wajue ya kwamba they have to learn from their parent and take advice from their parent. Yeah.
Mimi naambia watoto tukae kwa nyumba na tuangalie venye matokeo itatokea, na ile ingine sana ni kuomba Mungu tufanye uchaguzi usalama, tuombe wale tunachagua tukae usalama. Hiyo ndio maombi yangu, na naambia watoto tukae tuangalie TV, kama ni tulesoni waangalie na maibo na kuomba na kuimba.
Ujumbe wangu kwa mzazi, alinde mtoto wake, ikifika ni wakati wa uchaguzi sana wakiweza wakae nyumbani. Mzazi naye akiweza akitoka kutafuta arudi nyumbani, tukae pale, hapana kutokea kwa maandamano.
As we have seen, most of the parents are urging the government to ensure that during this time of elections, the children are kept safe. Reporting from Mtoto News, I am Karen Mwikoma.
Thank you so much, Karen Mwikoma and Sheila Lwangu, for that report. In June, Mtoto News hosted a national consultative forum on the Day of the African Child at Nairobi's Sarova Pan-African Hotels. Stakeholders in the children's sector met to discuss the progress on the objectives set during this year's Day of the African Child and all the previous years from 2002. Our journalist Brian King has more on this.
Shortly after the celebration of this year's Day of the African Child, several civil society organizations met together to discuss some of the objectives set not only during this year's Day of the African Child, but also on previous days, including the one that was held on the year 2002. Mtoto News International was one of the organizations that attended this event.
It is a process. I'm going to repeat again. It is a process. For us, this is Day of the African Child 2022. It's an event. When you are reporting to NCCS and the African Union, we say it's an event of the Day of the African Child. Okay? We are reviewing. It's a review, it's a reflection meeting of what we have done.
26th today is the day that the new law for children commences. Now, we need to leave for lunch knowing clearly that everything else that we used to do in the past, now things have changed. And lastly, from our vision, we really want to support this process. And in the afternoon, kindly come up with very clear, how do I put it? Clear actions that we need to take. 3 things that are important. Engaging of the civil society and government with the Day of the African Child. If you have a good report, then we can then agree how do we engage government based on that report, because that report will have our shared understanding.
Might be celebrating the policies that we are making. We also need to engage the children. I think we need to make it something that we do every single day of the, in fact, every single year. Every time we come up with policies, we need to make them child-friendly. By child-friendly, I mean they need to be broken down in ways where I can understand them and a child in Marsabit can also understand them, so that we get to relate to our policies that are actually getting to affect us directly, not you guys. Us as African children, we need to be able to understand them. You guys might make them, and sometimes you tend to forget to actually involve us in making them. And even after you make them, you do not pass them to us. We just hear their policies and we don't even know about them. So I'm thinking, Ms. Jennifer, maybe we can make it a moment to actually be breaking down each policy that we make, every single policy that we come up with to a child-friendly manner, so that every single child can actually get to understand them.
What will it take legally to make the Day of the African Child a public holiday? Because then that will create more awareness and bring more attention to the people.
I don't actually know of the Day of the African Child. I heard someone say it should be made a public holiday. I think we've been debating and arguing for this, fighting for this for a very long time, because if children don't know about their day, then what are you doing here? What's the point of this? You need to understand that if you're fighting for someone without them knowing you're fighting for them, what are you doing? I think you're fighting for yourself. It's something that stakeholders need to understand. All of you here need to understand that anytime you're making a policy, anytime you're engaging with a policy, not even making it, anytime you are correcting or going through a policy regarding children without actually involving them, I'd love to say you're doing zero progress.
What has stopped us from asking the head of state to attend the Day of the African Child celebration? Why is the Day of the African Child not a school holiday for children? I think those are important questions. And I think children should be asked to speak about these things. And the happy thing today is that the law we have says that one of the tenets of the best interest of the child is child participation. And if you look at the law itself, it says that the children have a right to public participation. So we have that opportunity to actually see how we bring this into fruition for our children so that they are able to participate. Our children are here now, not tomorrow. They are here now.
And that story takes us to our first break here at Mtoto News Insights. But don't go too far, we still have that discussion about children safety during this election period. We get to talk to our child advocates and remove our jackets for the hot conversation. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, I had highlighted on the topic that we're to discuss right now about the safety of children during elections. And today I have my panelists. I'm going to let them to introduce themselves before we start the discussion. So let me start with you, Brian.
Thank you so much, Omar. My name is Brian King. I am a child rights advocate as well as the child representative of the Pan-African child-led organization in Eastern Africa.
Thank you so much, Brian, for mentioning Kwanza your party child advocate. Let's move on to Sheila.
Yes, I'm Sheila Luango, a trained journalist at Mtoto News.
Thank you so much, Sheila. Yes, a very new face at Mtoto News Insights.
Hi guys, my name is Mwangi Ngai. I'm a child advocate and human rights advocate.
Thank you so much, Mwangi. Now let me start with you, Brian, since the mic is being passed on to you. Now, today we are talking about safety of children during the election, and we have to go back to, you know, where the one that we know, that ilikuwa recent, the one in 2007, the election violence. So there was like 1,160 people died during that election violence, and that includes children. So according to you as a child, what was the likely cause of that violence?
Omar, the likely cause, in fact the only cause, the main cause of that violence was simply disagreements. It's the fact that some people were unable to actually accept that they lost, or that they it's different. It's simply a deferment of agreement. It's simply people not accepting the results of the elections. That was the main cause of violence. But then we can also go deeply into tribalism, nepotism, corruption, and all that, because those were some of the causes of the disagreements. And so that's why I'm saying the main cause of that violence was simply disagreements by neighbors, brothers, sisters, and parents, you see.
Yeah. So let's move on to Sheila. Sheila,
yes.
In 2000, were you there in 2007? Were you born?
Yes.
Oh, you were there? Nice.
Yeah, I was 1 year older.
So you know what happened during 2007?
From history.
Thank you so much. So what was the likely cause of that violence and really happened?
What I can say, just to support what Brian said, it's more about tribalism. You see, like, if you may allow me to use this, sorry, about, in books we read about uongozi mbaya, and that is like the voters thought that they have a right to elect who they want, but they felt like, we chose this person, but we were not given that person. So maybe they did that. I don't know if it happened like that. Then something else, tribalism. They have this norm that only a certain tribe should lead, only another one should not lead. So maybe that brought the fight, and people lost so many, like people died, whereby it was not good. Yeah, so I think maybe tribalism and having, may I say favoritism or something? Yeah,
favoritism.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sheila, for those inputs. Now let me move on to Mwangi. Now Mwangi, what was the likely cause of the 2007 violence?
For me, I think the likely cause of the 2007 elections was the aspect that we really put ourselves into divisive politics and really wanted to know our neighbor, whether they are of this certain tribe, and if they are not of this tribe, then we would exclude them from our conversation or say that they shouldn't be in leadership. So I think in the upcoming elections, we should not look at Kenyans from the tribe that they come from, but look at them from the fact that they're Kenyans. And for example, there's a politician who says that we should not look we should not look at people against our background, but if you're Nairobi and you say I am Nairobi, and so I do believe that we shouldn't look at fellow Kenyans from their tribe, but look at them as Kenyan citizens. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mwangi, for those inputs. Now let me move on now to Brian. Now, Brian, we know how the current country is right now. We know what is happening with the president, the deputy president, the Azimio leader. What is happening currently? So I want you to tell us now straight. Are children safe during this election period?
Okay, Omar, no.
Okay, let's start from there.
No, I mean, you have to understand something. What is safety? Safety means they're not going to be harmed in any ways. No. Now, when you hold your rallies inside estates, when you hold your rallies near schools, near playgrounds, where you're very sure children are going to be playing there or doing their stuff there, when you come and hold your rallies, they're going to be following you. Now, if something happens and chaos erupts, what is going to happen to the children? They are vulnerable. They are confused. They don't know where to head. No one is looking out for them. People are running. There is a possibility they might get trampled on. Omar, when you are walking around with guns near rallies and you start firing randomly, children are going to be hurt. I saw a story of the 2017 elections. There was this father who lost a child.
Oh, the little
because of thank you. Because of a stray bullet fired by a police officer trying to disperse a crowd. What are you trying to do? I think it should be legal for rallies to be held inside the states. Estates should be somewhere safe for children to play, for children to be children, but it is not. Let's even not speak about the worst case scenario of chaos erupting. Let's speak of children just being in a rally, isn't it? They are usually rally vehicles. We know that. A child runs to the road. You see, the rallies are usually followed by vehicles on the road. A child runs to the road. There was a vehicle coming. The child gets hit because of what? He was following the music and all that.
But don't you think maybe it's the responsibility of the parent?
It is the responsibility of the parent to take care of the child. That is very true. But we all know the parent can be inside cooking. The child is in the house, even inside the gate, playing, doing their stuff. Music comes along with noise and all that inside the estate. The child is very, very, what is the word? Curious. No, the child will go out to investigate. And even in the case of the stray bullet, the child was inside the house, in the balcony, inside the house, but they were still hurt because these politicians were holding their rallies inside estates. It should be very clear. No rally should be held near estates, playgrounds, schools, churches, so anywhere where children might be, in fact.
Thank you so much, Brian. So maybe politicians should utilize the stadiums maybe to do their rallies and stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Let's move on to Sheila. Sheila,
yes.
You as a child, are you safe during this election period?
Let me say no, and then support what Brian has just said right now. You see, yesterday my sister came home and told me that there's this aspiring MP who went to school to give the parents money and the teachers so that they can elect them. So
basically corruption.
Imagine, to pay them, he was giving out 400 shillings. So like I'm imagining there are teens there who are like 13, 14. What if they discuss themselves like you know, like mothers, like whatever, and tie all those kind of stuffs, and go to the line to be given money, because we understand this is a slum. Like they're coming from Kibra, that is a slum.
I usually understand that politicians usually are given money sometimes by the parties that they're in, so that they can do their what do you call it? Their campaigns. Their campaigns, right? So don't you think that the politicians are just doing what they're supposed to do?
But in school, literally inside a school, giving out money inside a school, that is wrong, because you're not making, like, maybe the politician is giving out that money in that school, and maybe another politician comes in from a different party, and that is a different party. What do you expect? There's going to be commotion, because I am supporting this party, and I'm supporting party A, and you're supporting part B, so like the party called B. Now there is going to be commotion, and who is going to be hurt? Children. So what basically, there's no safety, because if politicians are holding rallies and giving out money in schools, that is not good. And then what Brian said about rallies and all that kind of music, you see now the musician now like are using those songs that can motivate, and like not motivate really, that can catch attention of the children. You see they are singing, like, the songs. Now you see the songs when the car is passing and all that stuff, they'll be like they're giving out money. In Kibra, they call it guara or something to do with something like that. Now, let's say I'm 16 years old. Now the rally is passing. If I disguise myself, I put on a dera and kitambayo, mtandio, and then I go lined up for the money. Because I need the money, or maybe just because people are being given the money. You see, like, money is never enough. Even the richest guy is trying to get money. Now I've lined up, I've queued up for the money. What if something bad happens to me?
So maybe you're trying to say that, these politicians are lowering these children to their rallies, so which makes the safety of the children not to be guaranteed, right?
Yes, and something else, it should not, any rally should not be hosted in schools.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Sheila and Brian, for those inputs about if children are safe or not. And now let me come to you, Mwangi, with a totally different question, but we're still under the topic. Now, do you think this election, the 2022 election, will be free and fair?
Yes, I do believe that this election will be free and fair due to the fact that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has showed all sorts of competence as stipulated by the Constitution that they will provide free and fair elections, and they have even gone ahead to say that all those problems, for example, the irregularities and the illegalities that the Supreme Court ruled about, that they have worked on it, and they will be willing to share the free and fair elections on August the 9th when they count them. So I do believe that we are in safe hands with IEBC.
Asante sana Mwangi Ngai. Let me come to you, Sheila. Sheila,
yes.
2022, are we having a free and fair elections from a child perspective?
From a child perspective, let me say I hope, because you can't promise tomorrow, but with the information and everything we've seen in news and what the IBC is trying to do, and making sure that we have a free, whether manual or whatever it is going to provide for us, I'm hoping to have a free and fair election.
Thank you so much, Sheila. Now, Brian, I've realized that during the past elections, just disagreeing, and because of not having maybe free and fair elections, that's why most violence usually happens. So do you think we're having free and fair elections?
Omar, I beg to differ. I don't think violence comes from, not having free and fair elections. I think violence comes from acceptance. You see? And so the definition of free and fair can always change, What does free mean and what does fair mean, actually? You see? I mean, does it mean that it's only free and fair when I win? Or does it mean it's only unfair when you win? You see, it's all about acceptance. Free and fair elections can only happen when, as Mwangi said, when the IBC does its part, when the citizens do their part, and when the leaders actually do their part. And so I don't want to say yes, I don't want to say no. I believe I can only say it is the role of those three parties, IBC, citizens and the leaders. I believe they can only be the ones to define free and fair by accepting and doing their parts. You see, IBC making sure it's covered and it's fair. Citizens making sure that they do their part and vote for the leaders they actually want. And for the leaders, their part is simple: accepting the results as they are transmitted. If IBC do their part, we do this, the citizens do their part. That is, I believe free and fair can only be defined by those three parties. So I cannot say yes or no.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. Actually, before we take a short break, I want you to give you guys these questions that you answer so that we can go for a short break. Now, what can the government do so that they can ensure that children are kept safe during this election period?
I answered this before, Omar. I gave the aspect of safety, right? Not conducting rallies and whatsoever near anywhere, in fact, that children are supposed to be. They might argue that this is where the citizens are, but hold mass rallies in stadiums. They will come. Hold press briefings on TV where no one can actually get hurt, right? But the most important part, I forgot about this. The kind of messages you're sending to the people, the kind of politics you're trying to preach to your followers. Are you trying to preach peace or violence? Tell them, my friends, it doesn't matter who is at the top. What matters is that you are represented. What matters is that we as the Kenyan people feel like our voice is heard. Do not preach violence, preach peace. Because remember, that violence can actually come back to bite you yourself, not just us as the citizens. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Brian, for those inputs. Now let me move on to Sheila. Now, Sheila, what can the government do to ensure that children are kept safe during this election period?
I think to enforce, like to put more police officers in patrol where rallies are, not just to be there and fire any bullet just anyhow, to make sure that they ensure where children are, the rallies are not held, and then to make sure that this political aspirant who wants to become various leaders at various posts, please, they should not go to schools, and they should make sure that even though they are like moving in the vehicle campaigning and telling their citizens or whatever, the wazalendo watukufu ama tunaitaje kwa Kiswahili, telling them, you know, vote for us because of this and this, they should not use insults. Just because I support a certain political party B and you're supporting a certain political A, we should not become enemies, you see. Like the government should ensure that as much as everyone is supporting, like they just preach peace, they can advertise it. This person is supporting political part B and I'm supporting political part C. Now let's do this. Because you're supporting this and this, it doesn't mean that you'll have to be my enemy. No, we just have differences in political, who we are supporting, who we think is right, who we think can lead this country. So we should not be like that, you see. We should just have peace. Advertising that. Second, they should not, as I said before, should not hold rallies in school and give out money, because as much as they're giving out money, we are children. As much as we are not supposed to be given money at times, I'll see you with a new watch and I'll tell my mom to buy me that watch, and my mom will tell me, I'll buy you. But because I'm a child and I really need to have that watch on Monday, I'll go queue up for that money. And what if something bad happens to me, you see? Yeah, so that is what I think the government can help us with.
Asante sana, Sheila. So at this point in time, we are taking a short break at Mtoto News Insights, but don't go too far. We are still continuing with the discussion. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Now we are at Mwangi. Now, Mwangi, there's this perspective of young people not voting, and also children. I have heard of my little sister saying that, she will never vote. What is your perspective on that?
That's not something I would advocate for. For me, I do believe in all Kenyan citizens, just as stipulated in our constitutionally, that it's right for you to go wake up on the 9th of August to go vote for your various leaders for various posts. Because not voting really is voting for the bad leaders. I mean, the same people who do not vote are still the same who go say that there's no leadership in action. They complain about the roads that have not been made. They complain about bursaries not being dispersed. So I do believe that all of us, being Kenyan citizens who have an ID, should just go and vote on the 9th of August for the leaders that they do believe in, who will help them and change. So I do believe those youth and everyone who is a Kenyan citizen, just to go vote for the leaders who you trust in and believe in. Yeah, thank you.
Asante sana, Ngai. Let's move on to Sheila. Sheila,
yes,
Mwangi has talked about people should go out there and vote, and there's this perspective of young people saying they will not vote children saying they will never vote. What is your take on that?
Especially your sister. Okay, this is a message to your sister and many sisters out there and many brothers out there. So as much as you're not voting, and the way Mwangi said, you will go out there complaining, oh, Kenya is corrupt, oh, we don't have good leaders, oh, we want this and this, oh. So what we need to do is you go out after 5 years, you voted for this leader. You've seen the manifesto they have, they've said they are going to build roads, they are going to do this, they are going to construct schools, they are going to everything they've said. And you feel like this is the leader I want to vote for. No, and now as much as you will wake up and go vote for the leader that you think it's right. Not how do I say it? Don't be influenced by anyone. Like nikwambie vote for leader B because I like leader B, you see? Yeah. And then secondly, it's as much as you don't vote, there is that I don't know, is it encouraging another leader to win, or I don't know how it's stipulated, but it's kinda as much, at least make a choice.
Sawa Sheila, asante sana. Brian, why are young people not voting, and why are children saying they will never vote?
Why are people saying they won't vote? You know, I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I mean, if you feel like you can't make if you can't influence change in any way, you tend to feel vulnerable, right? But not saying that you don't have a preferable candidate, there is not an excuse. I mean, remember when you're going to vote, you're not only voting for the president, you're also voting for the member of county assembly, for the member of parliament, and for the senator, governor, maybe even women rep, right? And so I am thinking, if you feel like you don't have a preferable candidate in a certain position, you go vote for the others because they're also going to be a leader. And for your little sister, I believe where she's coming from is she might have had either your parents or relatives saying they won't vote because it's not important, it's not helping them. Mwangi said it is your constitutional right to vote for your leader. It is also your constitutional right to not vote at all. You have to understand that. But now, when you're not voting, do you think you're making any change? If you're complaining that you are worried you won't be able to make any change, now that is a worry. Deciding not to vote is actually sealing your fate and letting someone else who is willing to vote for a corrupt person, someone who will actually cause you harm, you're actually giving them the chance to actually do that, you see? There's a very wise saying that says, failing to plan is planning to fail, right? So I'll say the same thing. Failing to vote is planning to, cause destruction in your country, not create a better future. But the main reason is simply influenced by people. Don't say you won't vote because you're worried you won't make a change. Not voting is not making a change. That's the point. I mean, if you won't vote, where do you expect the change to come from?
Thank you so much, Brian. But there's this perspective of, young people, saying, your the Mlolongo system that we have for, unapanga line, people waking up at even as early as 3:30 a.m. to go and make a line. And when you go there at the normal maybe time for the normal mwananchi at around, let's say 6, 7, you find the line is so big, but you still have to stand there. You see, that, process is so hectic. So that's why they don't want to vote. What's your take on that maybe?
Harambe, that's something our first president used to say. It clearly says, work hard, right? It is there, pull your resources and work hard so that we can make our country better. If you're not willing to sweat a bit for your country, what will you ever do for your country? The reason that line is long is because you're not the only one to choose your leader. Everyone has to come and has to exercise their right as a Kenyan citizen, right? So if it is difficult for you to stand, I don't believe it is illegal for you to carry your chair.
Okay.
Come with your chair, you sit down. Or even sit down on the ground, no one will hurt you. It is hectic because you have to learn how to vote. But I guess the government can also try and introduce more polling stations. You see? It is possible. If you have to wake up early, you do it. Or wake up early or come just a bit, just at some time, you see? I mean, it is your legal right. The process is hectic. But you have to understand, we have a saying, anything that comes easy is not good. Right? No shortcuts in life. You stand there, stand there like a Kenyan citizen. Be proud that you are sweating to exercise your constitutional right.
Asante sana, Brian. Okay, let's go to Mwangi. Mwangi, do you think, like as a young person, do you think maybe the government should come up with an app maybe for voting so that it can, utilize that hectic process?
For me, I don't think it would be a good idea for the government to come up with an app, because it will provide room for irregularities. So I believe we just go vote, it's in all countries where we have voting by the ballot. So I do believe we can, we just emphasize in the fact that we enforce attendance, everyone to come out, vote, because this country, we're the ones who will change it. Let us not wait for people to come from outside to change our country, because we were born in this country and we must change it. I mean, there's a saying, you have to leave the place better than you found it. So I do believe we are the change. So let us not stand out and say that we will not go vote. Let us all vote, and for the ballot we need to go vote the secret ballot, and that is how we will change our country.
Now we are coming to the end of the program. Let me come to you, Brian, as we are finishing. Now, Brian, what is your message to society and the next president of the Republic?
To the next president of the Republic, I'll repeat a message I've been, just sending for the past few months, okay? Children are an important part of Kenya. Children are citizens of Kenya as well. You should learn to recognize children as citizens of Kenya and actually learn to hear them. I keep saying, listen to children, don't just hear them. It's okay, we also have our own ideas, we also have our own, just listen to us. Our own perspective is also important in your bills. Also, not just to the society, but to Kenya. In the campaign that we are running, vote wisely and keep children safe, keep me safe. Okay, mom, okay, dad, okay, you friend and brother out there, keep me safe by voting wisely. Vote for the leader who is going to change Kenya. Thank you.
Asante sana, Brian. Mama Brian, Baba Brian, friend ya Brian, keep Brian safe. Thank you so much. Let's come to Sheila. Sheila,
yes.
What is your message to Kenya at large, and then the next president of the Republic of Kenya?
As a storyteller, I like to use this story. You see, there are these it's a book. It's called Mapambazuko ya Machweo. It's a hadithi ya pili. Inasema let me not go to the title. Let's go to the story. There are these two neighbors. The one is called Zuhura na mwingine anaitwa Machoka. Zuhura na Machoka wana msimamo tofauti wa kisiasa, ambapo Zuhura anamunga mkono tuseme part B, na Machoka anamunga mkono part A. Kwa sababu hawa watu wana msimamo tofauti wa kisiasa, Zuhura azungumzi na jirani yake. Kwa sababu gani? Zuhura anamtaka Machoka ampigie Sugu Juni, ambaye ni kiongozi ambaye Zuhura anamunga mkono kisiasa, na pia ni wa kabila lake, sio? Na pia tunamwona Machoka anamtaka Zuhura ampigie Fumo Matata, ambaye pia ni si mwenye ukoo wake, lakini anataka ampigie kura. Mbona anatumia hii hadithi? Kwa sababu as much as voting, as much as election is here, we as citizens mimi nitabaki nikizungumza na Brian, mimi nitabaki nikizungumza na wewe, na pia mama yangu atabaki akizungumza na jirani yetu, sio? Kwa sababu kila mtu ana msimamo tofauti wa kisiasa. Wewe ukisupport part B, mimi sitakosa kuzungumza na wewe. Huo ni msimamo wako wa kisiasa na una uhuru wa kuchagua mtu yule ambaye unataka. Kwa hivyo society, this is a message for you. Usikue kama Zuhura na Machoka. At the end of it, wewe utaenda kwa Zuhura umwambie Zuhura, mimi kama Machoka sina chumvi, nisaidie. At the end of it utapigana. The politicians will not be there. They'll shake hands, go take tea together. To the president, as Brian has said, we as children, at least we need a voice. As much as you want us and the new bill imesainiwa with the former president, we just need it to be put into more actions. We just need to be engaged in parliament as you're passing bills. Call us as children. Ask us what we go through, even in schools, in society.
Thank you so much, Sheila. Yeah, Sheila said it, that when you argue with your neighbor, the election period will come and leave, but we will still be here as Kenya and as the citizens of this country. Now, Mwangi, what is your message to now Kenya at large and also the next president of the Republic of Kenya?
Yeah, I would really want to congratulate my friend Sheila here for really setting the pace and talking in Kiswahili.
Yeah.
Lakini mimi naomba niongee kwa lugha ya Kimombo kwa sababu niko na shida ya matamshi.
You shema too much.
Yeah, niko na shida ya matamshi. But really, now back to the point. In that regard, I really want to congratulate the president for serving us for the 10 years. He has done his possible best, to the best of his ability. So I really want to congratulate him, and even for getting into service and really even passing the children's bill. Really, I mean, it will go into the books of history, because it's really good just to know that the president really honored us as the children and really passing the bill. Now on to the second point, or to the future president, really just for that bill, the bill that has been passed, really let's just take it and implement it. And when we are forming new bills, when we are taking motions to parliament, let our members of parliament come and really to consult with us, so that all of us, you know, as there's a saying that says, united we stand, divided we fall. So let us go, all of us as Kenyan citizens, so as to make Kenya great again.
Asante sana Mwangi, you have summed it up quite well. So we hope to see you in future as a future leader or a politician in future, maybe?
Oh yes, oh yes. Definitely, we will
be waiting for you. Yes, Sheila. Are we seeing you somewhere in future?
Yeah.
Just take the mic. Are we seeing you somewhere maybe as a leader?
Yes, of course. You'll be seeing me where you're seated.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'll take the
where I'm seated.
Where you're seated.
Aina shida, Sheila. I am waiting for you, Brian.
Okay.
Other than sitting where I'm seated, where do you want to be in future?
My friend, me, I'll be holding the leaders accountable in future. I'll be holding a Pan-African level seat to make sure that Akina Mwangi here actually follow the constitution. Now that is where I'm always opposition and fighting injustices. So yeah, see you there.
Asante sana Brian. I see that we have very interesting future leaders, comedians actually, but we will deal with that in future. Tungojene huko 2032, that election period. Thank you so much. You can keep the conversation flowing at our social media platforms at Mtoto News, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also visit our beautiful website at www.mtotonews.com. Keep the conversation flowing. Ask us questions. You can find me at all social media platforms at Omar Hamed 83. But for now, we say goodbye.